Man helps Lioness give birth. Something shocking happens. Minutes later, in the vast wild fields of southern Africa, where the horizon stretches infinitely under a golden sky, lived a male lion and a lioness who had wandered freely for many years as a pair. This duo had found their rhythm of life in the extensive savannas, where golden grass swayed like an endless sea under the constant breeze. They used to hunt together in perfect synchrony, moving across the vast prairies that stretched as far as the eye could see. The lion, with his thick golden mane, used his imposing presence to intimidate prey, while the lioness, agile and fierce, was the heart of the hunt, with lethal grace that made her the most successful hunter of the pair. However, life was becoming increasingly difficult as the climate changed dramatically. The water sources they had known since cubs began drying up one by one, becoming cracked mudbeds under the relentless sun. Prey became increasingly scarce, forcing them to travel ever greater distances to find sufficient food. It was then that the lion pair made a decision that would change their lives forever. They decided to abandon their ancestral territory, to seek a new and safer place to establish themselves. The journey they undertook was epic in every sense. They traveled hundreds of kilometers across rugged terrain, facing not only constant hunger, but also dangerous encounters with other predators. Each night became a test of endurance and vigilance. The male lion kept tireless watch, while the lioness took every opportunity to rest and recover her strength. After several weeks of exhausting travel, they followed the tantalizing scent of fresh water to reach the borders of Makhado National Park. The park was famous for being one of South Africa's largest and best-preserved reserves, with vast rolling grasslands and rich ecosystems that harbored extraordinary biodiversity. As soon as they crossed the park's borders, the lion pair immediately began searching for a safe place to hide. They saw patrol vehicles moving in the distance, human-built guard posts, and security fences they couldn't fully understand. At that crucial moment, within Makhado National Park, two dedicated officials, Sipho and Nomsa, began noticing the presence of these unexpected guests. Sipho was an experienced patrol driver who had dedicated over 15 years of his life to frequently traveling through the savannah to check on the welfare of all animals under his care. Nomsa was an expert wildlife observer with training in biology and animal behavior. For over a decade, she had been meticulously recording every change that occurred in the reserve, from migration patterns to changes in the reproductive habits of different species. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to support us with more incredible wildlife stories. Leave us a comment telling us what your favorite moment of this story has been. Both professionals were surprised to discover enormous lion tracks that mysteriously appeared near the park's central river. The tracks were fresh, clearly defined in the wet mud of the riverbank, and their size suggested these were healthy adult animals. After careful evaluation of the situation, Sipho and Nomsa decided to monitor from a distance to ensure the newly arrived lion pair wouldn't experience any accidents. During the first weeks, the male lion would roar intensely during the nights to establish and clearly mark his new territory. The lioness, however, had not yet fully adapted to the new environment. At times, she seemed restless and constantly alert, nervously moving from place to place. Sipho and Nomsa observed silently from their patrol vehicles, recording every sign of the animal's physical health and emotional state. During one of their routine observation sessions, Nomsa noticed something that immediately captured her professional attention. The lioness occasionally moved slower than normal and had developed certain behaviors that seemed familiar to her. She had a strong suspicion that the lioness might be pregnant. Sipho completely agreed with Nomsa's assessment. He had observed that the male lion showed significantly more intense protective behavior toward the lioness than was typically normal. If indeed the lioness was pregnant, it would represent extraordinarily positive news for the park's conservation efforts. During the following 4 months, the lioness's pregnancy symptoms became increasingly evident. Her abdomen expanded visibly, her gait became noticeably heavier, and she developed food preferences that suggested the hormonal changes typical of pregnancy in big cats. Sipho proactively began preparing basic medical equipment in his patrol vehicle, including emergency medications and basic veterinary assistance instruments. Nomsa continued her constant vigilance, meticulously noting the exact times of the lioness's rest and feeding schedules. Everyone at Makhado National Park anxiously hoped the lioness could give birth without complications. However, when the crucial moment finally arrived, an extremely worrying situation quickly developed. The lioness began experiencing an extremely difficult and prolonged birth, suffering painful contractions for 2 full consecutive days. Both lions moved constantly with visible agitation. The lioness moaned continuously, with sounds of pain that echoed across the silent savanna, while the male lion paced nervously around his mate. Nomsa and Sipho quickly realized the situation had reached a critical point. They genuinely feared the lioness might lose her life if she didn't receive professional medical intervention immediately. It was practically impossible to use anesthesia because she was in active labor. Faced with limited options, Sipho and Nomsa made a decision that required extraordinary courage. They decided to trust completely in their professional experience to approach the lion pair directly without any protection. The initial approach was incredibly tense. They slowly exited their vehicle, maintaining constant eye contact with both lions. Seeing the vehicle approaching, the male lion emitted a deep, resonant roar. His magnificent mane bristled completely, making him appear even more threatening. The lioness continued lying on the ground, clearly exhausted from the prolonged contractions. She was unable to move significantly, only emitting soft moans each time a new wave of contractions coursed through her weakened body. Nomsa urgently whispered to Sipho that they had to proceed immediately. Sipho nodded with determination, completely exiting the vehicle with slow movements, keeping his eyes constantly fixed on both lions. Nomsa followed closely, carefully carrying a medical bag containing specialized veterinary instruments, including an injection specifically designed to assist the birthing process in large mammals. In that surreal moment, 2 humans and a pair of wild lions met in the middle of a vast African prairie. The male lion growled threateningly and advanced several steps to protect his mate, but significantly did not attack immediately. Perhaps his instinct told him these humans were there to help. Nomsa gradually approached the lioness, using an extremely soft and reassuring voice. Gradually, almost miraculously, the lioness seemed to understand the humans' benevolent intentions. Her eyes began to relax noticeably, and she allowed Nomsa to get close enough to gently touch her abdomen. Working with professional efficiency, Nomsa quickly administered a specialized medical injection designed to stimulate uterine contractions and provide the lioness with the additional strength she desperately needed to successfully complete the birthing process. The male lion emitted a softer roar, approached curiously but cautiously, but showed no aggressive behavior. Both conservation team members prudently retreated several meters, giving space while waiting for the medication to take effect. After almost 2 hours of tense waiting, a small lion cub was finally born, causing absolutely indescribable emotion. The male lion immediately approached and began tenderly licking his newborn offspring, while the lioness had eyes that shone with pure maternal joy. Sipho celebrated silently when he saw the little lion cub move vigorously and emit its first weak but life-filled cry. Nomsa took the opportunity to quickly examine the cub from a distance, ensuring there were no visible serious congenital defects. The male lion looked directly at them, and in his golden eyes there seemed to be an expression they interpreted as silent but profound gratitude. Respecting the family's need for privacy, Sipho and Nomsa discreetly retreated. On the savannah floor, the lion cub continued struggling vigorously, showing all signs of being a healthy baby. The lioness gently licked her baby with instinctive movements, purring softly in a tone that served as welcome. The two officials remained in their vehicle, observing this sacred moment with hearts full of happiness and professional satisfaction. They decided to give names to this new family. They called the male lion Koda, the lioness Leia, and the newborn cub Mosi. Koda symbolized bravery, Leia represented hope, and Mosi meant new beginning. After confirming that Leia was stable, the vehicle slowly drove away, leaving the family under a perfect afternoon. During the return journey, Nomsa wiped away tears of emotion, her heart full of pride for having participated in saving such a precious life. Sipho declared that this experience had become the most unforgettable memory of his entire professional career. The next day, during their morning patrol, they saw Koda and Leia standing majestically on a hill, turning their heads to look directly at the vehicle. Mosi trotted unsteadily next to his mother, occasionally lifting his small head with curiosity toward the humans who had helped in his arrival to the world. The male lion no longer growled threateningly when seeing humans, as if fundamental trust had been established. The story of Koda, Leia, and Mosi quickly became a powerful demonstration of the potential for cooperation between humans and wild animals. Every time the patrol vehicle appeared, the lion family turned their heads to observe, as if expressing their continued gratitude. All of Makhado Reserve took pride in this story, affirming that conservation efforts always have the potential to produce true miracles. Over time, Mosi grew robustly, learning essential hunting skills under his mother's tutelage. Koda continued being a majestic presence, always by Leia's side. Under the golden light of African dawn, the family presented an image of perfect peace in the green fields of their protected home. Thanks to the brave efforts of Sipho and Nomsa, a precious life had been saved and a complete lion family had been preserved to contribute to the species' future. The story spread throughout the sanctuary, inspiring young conservationists with renewed passion for protecting African wild animals. When the sun set each afternoon, Koda roared toward the golden sky, a sound that celebrated the safety his family now enjoyed. Leia continued tenderly caring for Mosi, and the two officials returned each day with hearts full of satisfaction. Knowing they had participated in something truly extraordinary they would remember forever. Controles do chat sonet 4.